Alright, so I'm just gonna give it a minute so that people who want to join can join. After them join, we're gonna kick it off, even if we only have one person. Alright? So parents, dear parents, I'm back again tonight for you guys and the children them. Alright? Now, when we did that grow up, we did have people show things to we and tell we things. Just the same as anybody have to learn, right? It's the same way for anybody who don't know, and it's the same way for anybody who wants to know how to learn. It's the same thing. We have to help to guide them. Somebody have to guide them. I was guided. I am sure you on the live was guided as well, right? Somebody had to guide you and help you to do something, right? You probably couldn't tie your shoes. You did need help just the same. You probably could have put on your belt. You did need help just the same. So, it's the same way we're reading, right? We all need help. So then therefore, we need to help whoever don't know how to do it properly and them look with it. So now, we have that as a letter, right? We also have this as a letter. Now, I'm going to start with those two, right? Now, for us to be able to read those words, the first thing we have to know is one, the sounds that they make, right? And then two, the ability to put them together, right? So put together. Now, in putting them together, we have to read them. We have to blend them. What we have to do is, we have to make the sound of this letter, right? And we have to make the sound of that letter. Now, with those two steps, that is how we read every single word. By knowing the sound, putting it together. Now, what sound does this letter make? You might tell me that the sound that this letter make is po, right? You have a lot of people might say pa. But let's say that you're saying that this is po right now. Po. If you're saying that is po, right? I don't want to tell you say it incorrect, but I don't want to tell you say it correct neither. But what you don't know is that when you say po, that is what you're actually saying. You're saying the sound of the letter P plus O. You're not just saying the sound of the letter P, but you're saying the sound of the letter P plus something else, right? So, when it is time for you to read this now, and you say this is po and this is a, by the time you're ready to blend these, you're going to say poa. That is what you're going to say. Poa. And it is going to be challenging for you at first by saying poa, because the truth is, P and A does not give you poa. P and A does not give you poa. This is what gives you poa. But we don't want to read it like that. Right? Good evening, Claudia Toledo. We don't want to read it like that. Now, it is very important to make the pronunciation properly. Now, I am going to ask you a word. Like, for example, a word with the letter P. But I just want you to listen out and tell me if you hear a po when time I call the word. Like for example, the word soap. Do you hear a po? Do you hear me say soap? Because if the letter P says po, right? If the letter P says po, 1 second. if the letter P says po, it means that when I call the word soap, it should say sopo. When I call the word soup, it should say supo, because that is the sound of the letter P. If you're making it as po, right? 1 second, guys. Yeah, so sorry about that. As I'm saying, if this letter actually says po, when I say the word soap, and I hit right here, soap, this should say po. So this should actually be sopo. But the thing why this is not sopo is because the correct pronunciation for this letter is not po. You have to call the word soap. So the pronunciation of this letter, the correct pronunciation is p, 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 is not po. I mean, it are gonna have a breath, like you are gonna hear the breath come out with it, right? The breath is going to come out with it. But we have to be very careful to make sure that we don't say po and try to connect poa. Now, in order for us to read this properly, we have to remove back that O that we put in it. I don't know if you don't understand me, but I hope you don't understand me. If you're saying poa, we need to take out that O that you put in it. Because really and truly, the correct pronunciation for that is not po. It is p, p, p. It's a slight bit different. But it makes a lot of difference than saying po. When you say po, you actually hear O, right? And if I put the letter T right here, so I get put, put. If I put the letter T right here, so, right? You're going to call that pot, but we don't want to call that pot. We have to make sure that we don't say po for this letter right here. So we have to make sure so we call it properly. So again, when these two letters go together, what we end up getting is pa. Pa. When these two letters go together, we get pa. Pa. That's what we get. When we put the letter P and U together, that is when we get po. So that is po. This one, pa. This one, P. This one, pe. This one, you can, the O is slightly tricky, right? The O can make more than one sound. So it can sound like a like you're saying ka, cup. In the word cup, right? It can sound like a or it can sound like a o. So you can make it in whichever way you want to make it. That is completely fine. But what I want to bring out is that putting these two together is not saying po e. Because if you do that, you're going to say poe. That cannot read poe. For it to read poe, you're seeing a PU there. You get what I'm saying? You don't want it to be a PU to get poe. You want to can make this sound properly, right? But even if I say po, you can try to change it up so that you can kind of slightly draw out the sound in a little way. You can fold your lip longer, right? And rather than going to po first, you go to e first. So you jump to pe, pe, pe. From right there, so we can go ahead and add extra sounds to it, right? We can go and say, alright then, this is a T. But what sound does the letter T make? Which is T. So now, these two right here so give me po. Now I am going to continue right out until I get to this sound, which is T. So I am now going to get what? Put. Because this is saying O, this is saying P, not po. P. is a slight difference. I don't know if you're hearing it, but if you're hearing it, just drop a 1 in the chat. It's very slight. You can call it like a minimal pair. It's very negligible, right? Somebody might hear it and somebody might not hear it. But the thing is, when we're putting them together, when we put P and U together, we get po. When we put the T on it, that says T. Now we have po, put, po, put, po, put. So I hope you're seeing that. I Miss Annette. You finally get to go on live now. Hope you're doing good. Now, let's move on, right? Now we have P again. But the sound of it is P. We don't want to say po. If we say po, it's going to make we actually say about this up here, so. Right? So, we don't want to say po, but we just want to make the P a slight bit different so that it don't come out with that oo sound. So, we try to say P, P. Now, we have that sound and we try to go right into the sound ah. So we don't try to go into oo, we try to go into ah, because this is the sound that we're heading to. Sorry. This is the sound that we're heading to. So P and ah gives us pa. Pa. If we add the letter T to it, right? Now we can continue out with this sound to give us pat. P, pa, pat. Pa, pat. It is two different. I teacher Coffee, you know you're doing, hope you're doing alright. Right? It is two different things. The first one is pa, where we put both of these sounds together. P, ah. And then now we add the extra sound which is t. And we get pat. Pa, pat. Po, put. Pa, pat. So it's two different things. Now, we're going to go again and then we're going to add a letter T over here. But before we put the T over here, we are going to just make the sound for these again. Now, the letter I says E. That's when it's short, right? Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. The letter I says E, right? So, now when we move from this P sound, we're going right onto the E. P. 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 So we try to force out this letter sound right here, so, right? We don't try to say po, but we try to force it out. P. So your lip pop open when you make this sound of the letter P. P. Right? But instead of doing it and stopping, we try to go right onto the E because we already know that the E is coming up, right? So we say P. P. Then now, we can put the letter T again that says T. So this time, we're not going to stop at the E. P. You hear me stop at the E, right? P. We're not going to stop at the E. We're going to go right through. And then now, we are going to hear this sound right here, so being made. So now we're going to say pit. 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 So you're supposed to be hearing the sound for this letter, which is P. When you say pit, you're supposed to be hearing the sound for this letter when you're saying I. You're supposed to be hearing the sound for this letter when you're saying T. Right? Now, we're going again. This time we're going to add a letter T again. Before we add the T, we can put these sounds together again. Right? Now we have P, E, P, E, Pe, Pe. So I try to force out this one and run it right to E. Pe, Pe. Pe. So you don't hear me saying poo, because when you practice it as poo, what you would try to do is try to say po e. Po e. That now I'm gonna bring you in a Spanish, because now you're gonna start close to some Spanish word like puerta, which mean door, pueblo, pued, some whatever, pue. But we don't want that, right? So we have to be careful of that and we have to pay attention to that. Kids are gonna make this on a regular. Struggling readers are gonna make this on a regular. Big people are gonna make this on a regular. If you're just starting out with blending, it is one of the common problems that you're going to have. But it is nothing that does not have a cure. It does have a cure. What is the cure, you might ask? Repetition. keep on practicing. You're going to say poo a couple times. That's okay. But are you going to let it continue to be poo, or are you going to change it? It is going to be on you. So you have to change it. You have to make sure that you're listening to your kid, that they don't say poo. When you say poo, you're saying this right here. So all these two sounds combined together. It's two sounds when you say poo. Right? Now, let's continue. But add the T right there. Right? This is T. Now I have P, pe, pe. So these two combine to give us pe, pe. Now we're going to continue right through. We're not going to stop at E. You're going to hear me go through E and stop at T. Right? Pet, pet, pet. So now you hear the sound for this at the beginning, this come after, which is the E, and then the last sound you hear is T. Right? We'll go again. I know the board kind of look full, right? But never mind that. I hope you're learning, and if you're learning, just drop something in the chat so my sister, alright, then you're keeping up. If you're not understanding what I'm saying, just drop a 0 in the chat. I will know so you not understand, so I can run it over back. Right? Now, let's put the letter T right here, so again. Now, remember I tell you, the letter T, the letter O has more than one sound that it can make. It's a very tricky letter, right? It's not as easy as the rest of them. So, sometimes this can say ah, right? And sometimes it can say oh. Ah, like in the word cup. If you can say cup, right? If you can say cup, or if you can say stop, in those two words you hear the ah sound. Ta, ah, ka, ah. So you hear the ah sound. So this letter right here, so, right? It don't always say oh. It can say ah. So now when you put p and together, you get pa. Right? Pa. So now we're not gonna stop at right here. So we're gonna continue through until we reach this letter which says t. So now we're gonna end up with pot. Pot. If you hear them making it and saying it like that, let them go and do it, because over time they're going to get it, right? Then now what they might say as well is pot. Pot. Because they might try to say oh and put this as pa. So they might say pot. But if I say pot and if I say pot, you might just think they might have an accent. It's not the worst thing in the world. The world is not going to end if you call it pot and want somebody say pot. I promise you the world is not going to end. Right? Now, again, the only thing you need to read is two things. One, you need to know the sound of the letter. Right? You need to know the sound of the letter if you're reading. You need to know the sound of the letters. These two are very, 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 very close, that it can sound like the same thing. Right? You can say pot and you don't know which one of them me say. Or you can say pot. 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 Even me not even know what me say. It might sound crazy. Not even me don't know what me say. Because they're so close that you can get away. By saying pot, you actually say this. By saying pot, you actually say this. So, it's not so much of a big deal. It's not so much of a big deal. And it's very negligible. The greatest thing is for you to understand how the sounds work and how you can put them together. Now, the letter P is slightly a problem letter, right? Now, let's do it with another letter, right? This letter, they might not have so much problem with it because this one is more of a continuous sound. So this one says S. So you wouldn't hear them, you wouldn't find them, you wouldn't hear them saying swa, because all you're hearing first is this S until it reaches to that sound which is ah. But when it comes to the P, it's a bit more challenging to make. The letter B is a bit more challenging to make. So with those ones, you have to be very careful. But what you can try to do is you can't really stress consonant. You only can stress the vowel. But what you can try to do is try to hold on to it a little bit longer. Right? Try to hold on to that P a little bit longer. I promise if you try to say paper or pan, I promise that your lip is going to fall. You can try it for me and just type it in the chat if you actually do it. If you try to say paper, or if you try to say pan, or if you try to say pickle, or if you try to say pin, I know that your lips are going to touch. Because the reason that it touch is because in forming the letter P, for the sound to be restricted, is your lips that actually restrict the sound. And when you pop open your lips now, that is how that ear comes out of your mouth. And then now that in turns make you start to hear the sound. Right? So now I have S, A. We can put these two together. Right? This is S. This is A. Now, when we put them together, we're going to get Sa. When these two combine together, we're going to get Sa. Right? Now, we're going to go again. So, you remember that I tell you that these two already say Sa? Which means, you know, have to try to remember. Right? You can basically just go back over it again. Now, we're going to add in this sound, which is T. Right? So we're gonna say sat. You hear the sound at the end. When you say the word sat, you hear that sound coming at the end. If you decide that you're going to just probably put on an extra sound, now you change the word from sat to sats. So if you listen, you realize you're not hearing this sound at the end anymore. You start to hear a sound like s, sats, sats. If you decide say you're going to change the sound of the letter T, the letter T from T to M, it's going to change the word completely and a new word is going to form. So while this is still sa, at the end of it you're going to hear that sound. Sa, sam. You hear some? But what if I decide to just make an extra sound where the teacher never give me and say samt? What sound you hear at the end? This now becomes the sound that you hear at the end. We don't want that sound to be in it because we want it to stop when you reach a sam. When you reach right here, so at this point your lips is supposed to be folded. You're supposed to, you know, like when you want to keep silent and you just fold your lip and put all your finger upon your lip. You know what I make the sound? It's the same thing. Sam. Your lips are supposed to be folded. So if you decide say you're going to pull that fold and come out with samt, samt, it means that you pass where you're supposed to go and start making an extra sound that you're not supposed to be making in the first place. Right? Now, let's put an E right here, so. And again, the reason why this letter right here, so, is a short sound in this moment is because what we're practicing is CVC. So, in the CVC, the vowel will always make it short sound unless there's an exception to the rule. So that's why we're practicing what is most constant first. So we don't have to change up. Because reading is already hard. So why we need to start out and make everything hard? We don't need to do that, right? Now, S, E. When we put both of these sounds together, we get se. Se. So when you hear me say se out of my mouth, that is what I actually say right here. So, two sounds. 1, 2. First sound, second sound. First, second. So, when you hear me say se, this is what you're going to hear first. S, 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 s. This is what you're going to hear first. Then now it's going to be followed by this sound, which is se. Because how we read from left to right going in that direction. So because we read from left to right going in that direction, you're going to hear this sound first, this sound second, and then whichever sound come right here, so you're going to hear it third. So if I put the letter T right here, so again, see? I have to hear this first, which is what? Set. There's a sound here, there's a sound here, there's a sound here. Set. Set. No. You hear me say set, but that is very slow because when I talk, right, I don't say set, I say set, which means set is very quicker, sharper, and it comes out quicker than saying set. But guess what? Sometimes we have to do it in slow motion. Sometimes we have to make it sound slower than it actually is so that we can hear it properly and blend it properly and put it together properly. So when we do all of that now, then now we need to go back again and say it quickly once. Because we don't talk slow, I'm sure you not hear me talk slow now. So then when time me go say, it just sound weird. It just sound like a robot thing me depend. I'm not depend on the robot thing, but guess what? If you want to learn, you can practice like a robot. So you can make it sound like a robot thing you depend when you practice. And then now, when you do all of that, you start to remember, so you have to say it quickly once. And when you start to say it quickly once, you're good. Now, if this letter is T, and you say set, and then now you change from set to making this sound like a T there, you know, but you make it sound like No, you're wrong because you're going to say sem. So now your lip are going to full rather than making the sound that this supposed to make. Somebody, if you're not getting it in the chat, just type a 0 for me now. If you're getting it, type a 1 for me. Drop a 1 for me. If you're getting it, if you're not getting it, drop a 0. Alright, good. Some people are getting it. Good. Nobody, everybody are get it. That's a good son. That's a good son. That's a good son. Good. Love that sonny boy. Now, look here. I don't know if a lot of you know about video editing, right? But in video editing, they have what you call layers. So, what happens is that if you're looking at something, let's say that you're in a room, like a boardroom right now, where them have meeting, right? You see a desk, you see a water, you see whatever they have in there, you see computer, so and so, so and so. Now, just to bring the point across, if you're in that room, right, you would have like a computer. So the computer would be one layer of something, right? Then now you have the water, which is one layer of something again. And then now you have the desk. So that's 3 different things that we're talking about. But guess what? Them exist in the same timeline. Now, if you can try to imagine that this line right here, sir, this line is where we're at presently, right? That is the line that we have presently, which means that, you see, just like how all of these line up, it means that at this point in time, you're seeing the computer, you're seeing the water, and you're seeing the desk. Now, if I was to remove this part of it right here, so, see? If I was to remove this part of it right here, so, now, when it reached to this point, when it reached to this point right here, so, it means that the only thing we can see is the computer. Because this is real life, real time, right here, so right now. So if we're in there and we are look around, the only thing we can see is the layer of the computer. Now, this is the desk. Alright, this was the water first, but whatever the case may be. And now, over here, so, is, let's say, the water, because we move the water from up there, so. Now, what I'm saying is that the timeline will move. Where this thing I got? 1 second. Yeah. The timeline will move. The time keep on moving. See? So right here, so, is what we want to say, so is what time now? 7:30. At 7:30, when it touches right here, so you can only see the layer of the computer. Right? Now, time continue to move. See? Time continue to move. And now we are at 7:31. At 7:31, you start to see the computer and the desk. Because now it fits in at the timeline of what you're seeing presently. This is what your eyes seeing presently at the moment. Right? So you would be seeing the desk and the computer, but even though the water should come in at some point in time, it still don't come in yet because the timeline does not reach up to where you have the water. Now at this point right here, so you cannot see the computer anymore because the timeline right here, so let's call it 7:35. This is how time moves gradually going that way. Right? This is how the time moves. This is how we read from left to right. See? Now, as I said, I just try to get the point across because I'm going to change it back to the sounds just for show now. Right? So right here, so we can hear this sound and we can hear this sound. Cool. So open and understand that. Now, watch this now. I'm going to do back the same thing again. Right? I'm going to do back the same thing again. But this time, it's going to be with sounds. So this right here, so right now, is the letter S. Right? So let's say that the timeline is right here, so. Now we are going to hear this sound, which is what? S. When the timeline continues to move, right? That sound is going to change from S to, let's put ah. There. We probably didn't even need it so much neither. See? Ah. And then this one now is going to be T. If we are here and the timeline is saying S, at the point that we reach right here, so we are not going to hear this anymore. Right? It is going to change to A. Sa. Sa. Sat. And the point that we reach right here, so this sound cannot exist anymore. Right? This sound is not going to exist anymore. It is going to change to this sound now. People, I hope it makes sense to you, know. I hope it makes sense. Now, let's go again. And this is real time. This is real life. This is exactly how it works. Whether you think you like it or like it not. We move in time. Time and move. You have 24 hours in the day. It starts at 12 midnight and come back to 12 again. See? Now, we're moving this way with the sound just the same. Right? So, when I'm here, I will only hear the layer of this sound, which is S, S, S. But the moment I cross over this threshold right here, so this changes from S to what? Ah. Sat. When we reach right here, so I make this sound. And guess what? This never needs so much neither. Because it's not going to be held for too long. It's not going to be held for too long. Somebody understand me? If you understand me, drop something in the chat. If anybody understand what I do, drop something in the chat. Somebody drop something in the chat. If you understand. If you not understand, drop a 0. If you not understand what I try to, drop a 0. And if you understand what I do, drop something in the chat. People, I don't do this for you, so if you don't communicate with me, I cannot know if you don't understand it or understand it not. So if you don't decide so you don't want to be stubborn and don't communicate, I can't know if you don't get it or you don't get it, so you don't have to talk up. Alright, it look like everybody I get it then. So that means that from everybody get it, everything good then. Because I hear some stuff for tonight. Somebody says 0. Alright. Nicola. Right? Whenever we talk, we are in real time right now. Right? But if I should say the letter, the sound of the letter S, right? If I should say the sound of the letter S, Nicola, let's say that this is 7:36 and 10 seconds, and I hold it until I reach 7:36 and 15 seconds, I would move along in time, but I would be holding this. So me I hold it for 5 seconds. Let's say that was 5 seconds. Now up here so is the same thing. But what I'm saying is that this line that you see is the natural timeline. The natural how time move. This is the time. How the time is moving. So the time is moving that way. So at this point in time, the only thing that you will hear is the sound of the letter S. Right, Nicola? Now, we're gonna continue. But when we reach right here, so you realize that there is no more S. The S end. It finish. So now the sound changes from S to which sound this say? Ah. So it changes from S to ah. But it happens so quick in time that you probably can't even see it. Sa. Because this say what? Ah. So as soon as it passes this barrier right here, so it's going to say ah. Because it changes from this done. There's no more S left. So now we reach a ah, right? Our whole ah as long as to this point right here, so until it stops. Then now what comes next is the sound of the letter T, which is T. But this happens so fast that we don't even need so much space for it to happen, because this sound is so short in length versus this one. We can hold this sound for so long, but we cannot hold this sound for so long. Try to hold the sound of the letter T as long as possible. It's gonna be weird and it's gonna be hard. So what I'm saying is this. This is what? Sat. So that's how we get the word. But guess what? Whenever we are reading, we are not going to read every single sound at once. They are going to come independently. But because they come so quick, it forms one thing. So whenever I say sat, I don't make all of these sounds exactly at the same time. I might make one 7:36 and 10 seconds. And then now you have the millisecond them. Right? You know how tracks go. You know, so you can win by 0.002 point, whatever the case may be. This happens so fast that you think say every single thing happen in a one moment, but it don't happen in a one moment. Because you have to get out this first before you get into the A. Sa. Sa. It happens so fast that it fused together because there's no space. There's no time in between here. Right? Now, I'm going to show you something a little bit different now. I hope you understand now. Now, this N right here, so let's say that N right there, so, and that don't start till probably over here, so. See? So then, there's a gap right here. There's a gap right here between these two. So guess what? That space is going to be empty. You're not going to hear nothing in it. See? So you're going to hear s, at, s, at, s, at. And if I should go again and put another space right here, so, see? If I should put another space right there, so, you're not going to hear nothing right there, so neither. Let me put this in a red, just in case. So, Nicola, I hope you're still here, and I hope you're getting it. I'm just trying to show you guys a new concept, and it goes how reality actually go, right? So now, let's read this now. This is going to be what? S, empty space. You're not going to hear nothing. You're just going to be silent. S, a, t. Because now, I can't say it until I reach right here, so. The whole of right here, so empty, so it's like, I just keep silent. S, a, t. If I take out this space, right? If I take out that space and put back this right here, so. And then now I have this big gap right here, so. I hope you see the difference where it make. That's all. I hope you see the difference where it make. Right? So now right here, so, whenever it reach on the timeline, it's not gonna be hearing anything. It's gonna be silent. So you're gonna have sa, t, sa, t. People, does it sound different? I did two different versions of it. Does it sound different? Did it sound like I'm saying the same thing in the same case? In different cases? So I hope you get what I was trying to do, Nicola. Right? And for everybody else there here, I hope you understand. It's the same way how we read. But guess what? We read and we don't want this space to be in it. So this is sa. So we want to take out this space that we have right here, so, because it are going to take too long for we get the word, right? So we come back and we put it close up to each other. So then that means that when the timer go by, and the timer go by, it just chop right into this. So there's no gap right here, there's no gap right here. This is the same word. It might look like me I do something different. I am not. It's the same word, right? Sa. Sa. Why we get sa? Because it leave from out of this right into a. Sa. So this sound is not made different from how you know it make. And this sound is not made different from how you know it make. It's the same way it make, right? Sa. 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 And then the T drop in, right? Sat. Sat. Because there's no space. But if I should have ever made the mistake and put a space right here, so we're not going to see the difference. So this one I put up here, so is the same thing, but I just try show you in a one little way where how video editing go, right? So this is sa. Sa. T. You notice when time reach right here, so I never say nothing. I just keep it silent. You realize that? Ali, big up yourself, you don't know. You notice that? No, I'm going to change it up now, right? And I'm going to put the space somewhere else. So now me gonna have calculate over somewhere. So now me gonna have at. People, wanna see that? The space make a difference. The space make a big difference. So what we want to do is we want to try to remove this space as much. Right? Because we don't want to say because that's just too weird. The word is too far apart. So rather than saying we try to catch it up right on the right here. So like mama, I hold our little son and our little daughter. Right? I give our little son. So we say sa. But what you don't know is that you actually done out this sound first before you reach here. Sa. Sat. Sat. So people, that's it for tonight. I hope you find that entertaining and interesting. If not, come back one next time. Maybe it might be entertaining and exciting, I don't know. Right? But, as I say, we need to teach the babies them how to be able to put them together and what them actually sounds like. We need to demonstrate it first. So what I was doing was just demonstrating it to you guys, right? So who never get it, I hope when I get it. I hope Sonny Boy with it on the live understand what was going on, right? So people, it's not a scam, it's nothing hard, it's something that you have been doing your whole entire life, but you just don't know. You're just not noticing it. So all I am doing is just bringing the awareness to you to be able to notice it. That's all I am doing. I am not doing anything else. Right? Now, Tino, big up yourself. You know, a long time I don't see you out here. But big up yourself. Miss Annette, big up yourself again. You don't know. Tiwana, I see you one at the time. You come and you even check me and say, sir, what I go on, Ray. But I say, I don't know, I look a false name. But I'm not too call you out still. But big up yourself. You don't know. Is it? Cindy, big up yourself. Peter Gay, big up yourself. Well, but it's that. The truth is, I just work with my brain and my mind. Sometimes my mind says if it do it, I'm just guided by the spirit. If it does come out here, I just come out here. Sometimes the spirit says don't come, I just don't come. But just work with what my spirit tell me for do. I have that good feeling there. Cool. But what you can do is follow me. Right? You can follow me. You can join the WhatsApp group, so whenever we come back out here, you can get the notification directly to your WhatsApp for know say we're out here. So you can come out here when we're out here if you want to be out here, right? So who now follow me? Follow me so that you can get the notification. Who link up on the WhatsApp, just send me a message on TikTok, say yo, boom, WhatsApp. You can get the link, you can join up if you want. We're not force nobody. So that's how it go, right? But really and truly, I hope you learn something tonight. Chris, big up yourself. Nicole, I hope you understand the demonstration that we would have do a while ago. And if you don't get it, people, we're going to upload this video on YouTube. So for the people who want to check in on YouTube, big up on yourself. All YouTube subscribers, big up on yourself. And, you know, we're going to come back out here again and we're going to do the same thing again. Why? Because repetition is what makes us who we are. So we have to repeat. Don't want to beat every day. Why repeat bathing every single day? Why repeat eating every single day? And for those who cook, why repeat cooking? And for those who sleep, why repeat sleeping every single day? Repetition is important. Ali, big up yourself. Omina, big up themselves. And Country, big up yourself. Tina, big up yourself. I don't know if I am coming out tomorrow. I have some private session where I need to attend. I might have some other sessions where I need to attend. So unless I do my session them and my spirit say for come out here, that's the only way I'm coming out here. But if my spirit say don't come, I not come. Again, just follow me link up on the WhatsApp, get the notification whenever we come back, and you will be just fine. See? We are going to do long sound and short sound, but for right now, we are focused on short sound because short sound is more stable when we talk about CVC. The long sound, you already know it already. All you need to do is say your ABC. A is the long sound. E is the long sound. I is the long sound. O is the long sound. And U is the long sound. Right? You already know them already if you know your ABC. So that's not nothing hard to learn. But and them thing they really are going to hear it as much in the alphabet. So CVC is a type of syllable we are focused with. We are focused on the kids them. So the kids them can be able to do what them do. We are focused on the parents them so that the parents can help the kids them. So that's how the spirit is guided to do right now. And then now anything else after that, we can move on to that. But for right now, we're going to stick on the CVC. We can always go back to Magic E. You can always go watch some YouTube videos what we do from longer time. Them dep on YouTube. Just Kimarreadingclass at Kimarreadingclass. Just go up on YouTube, type it in. Anywhere you want to go. Instagram, TikTok, anywhere you want to go. Just type it all in Google. I'm sure something will come up. Right? So, that is it for tonight. Tino, big up yourself again. Thanks for checking in, people. Have a lovely night.